Super Mario World 2: Yoshi's Island, the sequel to the wildly successful Super Mario World, was 4 years in the making. During the development of this game, decisions were made that would change the course of Nintendo forever. Many of them still leave their mark to this day, for better or for worse. Yoshi's Island was more than just a financial success. It showed the gaming world what true innovation looks like, bucking trends and proving just how unique a 2D platformer can be. Unfortunately, it was to be the last of its kind for many, many years. Released in August of 1995 in Japan and October of 1995 in North America and Europe, this was the last 2D Super Mario platformer to be released on a Nintendo console until New Super Mario Bros. Wii, 14 years later. Its unique art and play styles were a welcome change in an industry that was on the verge of a 3D revolution. After being re-released on the Game Boy Advance, a direct sequel came out on the Nintendo DS, followed by Yoshi's New Island on 3DS. A critique on the sequels is that they don't change much compared to the original, but, as they say, don't fix what isn't broken. Yoshi's Island remains a one-of-a-kind platformer with terrific replay value. Yoshi Safari and Yoshi Cookie were the two preceding games featuring newly created superstar Yoshi as the main character. They weren't great games by any means, and Miyamoto was not involved in their development. Shigeru Miyamoto felt that the new Yoshi Nintendo was trying to push had no relation to the character he wanted people to become familiar with. In other words, he wanted to reinvent Yoshi and present players with a more enjoyable and interactive personality. Miyamoto didn't, in a very loose sense, own Nintendo back then the way that he basically does now. He actually took his idea to the higher-ups at Nintendo and was originally turned down, specifically by the marketing team. It seemed that they wanted the pre-rendered CG graphics similar to the Donkey Kong series, whereas Miyamoto had come to them with a similar art style as seen in Super Mario World. Rather than take their advice, he went a completely different direction, making the game seem more hand-drawn as opposed to 3D. Takashi Tezuka, director of Yoshi's Island, stated, "We deliberately chose not to go for realistic graphics like Donkey Kong Country. We wanted to take a chance and do the opposite. Probably every game from here on out is going to look more like Donkey Kong Country. That being the case, we decided to go against the trend one last time and make something with a heartwarming, handmade visual style." Tezuka and Miyamoto took a risk by avoiding a trend in video games, but their bold stance proved how diverse, unique, and innovative a video game can be. This game was fundamental in forming Nintendo's identity. Nintendo began to prioritize creativity over pure graphical technology. Things like unique art styles and fun character or level designs have taken precedence over at Nintendo even to this day, especially when compared with the high computing power and realism of their competitors. Prioritizing creativity over realistic graphics is something Nintendo lives by to this day, and even though we all want a realistic Legend of Zelda game, let's face it, Wind Waker is one of the greatest video games ever made. Super Mario World 2 was in development for 4 years. Its art style was meant to mimic a hand-drawn, painted look. It was beautifully done and certainly not something anyone had seen before in a video game at that time. Utilizing the Super FX2 graphics chip to enhance certain aspects of the game, Yoshi's Island was able to effectively render 2.5D elements in a way that had not been done before on the Super NES. Many things we see in Mario games today originated with Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. Mario being in a bubble, Raphael the Raven, Baby Mario, and Baby Bowser, known as Bowser Jr. in subsequent games, were all introduced in Yoshi's Island. With Yoshi's Island, Nintendo pulled out all the stops. They knew that the 3D movement was going to leave 2D platformers in the dust for a very long time. Shigeru Miyamoto, in an interview with Howl magazine, said, "It was surprising, but once development was really underway, there were very few ideas that we had to jettison. We knew this would be the last Mario game we made for the Super Famicom, so we wanted to go out with a bang and include all we could. If it was a simpler game, one that you could just beat once and are done, then you could probably get rid of half of these mechanics, but we designed Yoshi's Island so that players would be able to replay the stages many times. That ended up giving us a lot of leeway for all the things we wanted to include." Baby Mario and Luigi are being taken to their parents via a stork when Kamek flies past and causes the stork to drop the children. Luigi is kidnapped and taken to Baby Bowser, but Mario falls and lands on Yoshi's Island. The Yoshis, after discussing what to do with the child, decide that they should help him out. In order to carry him to his baby brother, Luigi, and find their parents, they must brave the dangers of the island. The game's start screen is a beautiful, fake 3D intro screen where the camera is circling an island. Very impressive for the SNES. This is the kind of thing made possible by the implementation of the new Super FX2 chip. The overall presentation of this game is very childbook-like, and the music helps the game carry that childlike charm. The pastel colors and the painted feel make this game stand out, but were mostly done to accompany the fact that Mario was just a baby, and we're seeing this story unfold as though we were reading it in a children's book. The gameplay is accompanied by a music box type soundtrack done by the legendary Koji Kondo. It's a wonderful score, with many of the tracks finding a way into later Mario games. A perfectly Mario soundtrack with an island feel to it was a nice way to keep the feel of the older Mario games, while the graphics delivered something completely new. The soundtrack is one of his best on the Super Nintendo. This game would not have been the same without it. My favorite thing in the game is the Superstar. This enables Baby Mario to run without Yoshi. He can run on walls and ceilings as well as glide with his cape. I believe this was the intro of the small mushroom that made appearances in more recent Mario platformers, where being small was actually a valuable tool instead of just a hindrance. The mini mushroom was implemented in New Super Mario Bros. Let's see if you can't find a parallel. My first impression with this game is that the gameplay is incredibly smooth. Nintendo is very particular about how characters move, giving them weight and interaction with their environment. I wish more companies would pay this much attention to gameplay. This is the game where Yoshi's signature Smash Brothers moves came together. In Super Mario World, Yoshi could eat things and spit them out or lay an egg, but in this game, Yoshi can do the leg-kicking double jump and can throw eggs. Less often revisited are the morph bubbles. Upon entering, Yoshi can transform into one of 5 different things: a helicopter, train, car, mole tank, or submarine. It sounds weird, but trust me, it's awesome. Aside from just bucking the visual trends of the time, Nintendo also altered the way this platformer was played by implementing the innovative countdown-based life. Instead of losing a life when making contact with an enemy, Yoshi loses Mario. Mario then floats around in a bubble and cries until Yoshi rescues him. If Yoshi fails to rescue him in the allotted time limit, which gets shorter and shorter each time you lose Mario, he gets kidnapped and taken to Bowser. Many people who played this game absolutely hate the sound that Mario makes when he falls off Yoshi's back. Mario crying was something I was okay with. It didn't bother me too much. Understandable, but nothing close to a game breaker for me. I felt it added an element of urgency to the game, but I will admit it can certainly be a bit obnoxious, especially if it goes on for too long. Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island sold over 4 million copies. There are very few drawbacks to this game. It nearly perfected the capabilities of a 2D platformer on the SNES. The game's reviews were off the charts, scoring perfect or near-perfect scores from just about every game reviewing outlet of the time. After the 4 years Nintendo spent making this game, they really began to develop the identity that shapes Nintendo today. One of fun, creativity, and innovation spurred by defying expectations. Thanks to its great gameplay, unique visual style, and storybook charm, this game will live on forever. Yoshi's Island was the culmination of a genre that defined an entire generation of video games. It is a brightly polished gem that stands out among the great classics of all time.